Speaker, earlier this week we talked about how coal used to be an effective, cost-efficient alternative to natural gas in remote areas. We talked about the fictitious coal social license the accelerated coal phase-out is supposed to be buying. I will tell you what isn't fictitious. The devastation this ideological policy is doing to communities like Hanna, Forestburg and Grande Cache. Minister, do you propose to replace these mortgage-paying jobs the coal industry provided in all these communities with stop-gap programs?
The Honourable Minister of Economic Development.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So I'd like to take a little trip down memory lane when Stephen Harper was the Prime Minister of Canada back in 2012. Jason Kenney was one of his cabinet ministers, where they put forward regulations that would see the end of coal-fired electricity after 50 years of a plant operation, including not allowing them to convert to natural gas. That government put a nail in the coffin on coal in Alberta. They turned their backs on the workers, they turned their backs on the communities, and they had no plan to help them transition. I look forward to telling you all about it.
First supplemental.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Given that this government's accelerated coal phase-out far exceeded the federal mandate, and given that these communities' property values are now half of what they used to be, Minister, when are you and your caucus going to face the residents of these towns, look them in the eye, and tell them that your accelerated phasing out plan is worth them losing everything they've worked for?
The Honourable Minister.
So, Mr. Speaker, what we did do was we immediately worked with the current federal government to change those regulations to ensure that coal-fired plants can convert to natural gas. That's something that the Minister of Environment and Parks spearheaded. What I can tell you, Mr. Speaker, is that over the summer I visited most of the coal-affected communities and had very productive conversations with mayors, including Chris Warwick, the mayor of Hanna, who, when we announced our supports for workers and our supports for communities, he had said that this is going to go a long way to help the community and their constituents to transition. Again, I'll remind the members opposite that it was not only the Alberta government's regulations.
Thank you. Second supplemental.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker, and to the member opposite. Mr. Speaker, given that this government has no long game to help these communities, and given that places like Hanna and Grande Cache are on the brink of becoming ghost towns under this government, to the Minister, what industry, manufacturing or processing business has your government approached about locating to one of these areas so that generations of Albertans do not become historical footnotes?
Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I wish the member opposite would talk to the municipal leadership in the communities he represents, because they would tell him that we introduced the Coal Community Transition Fund, which is a fund that is designated to support affected coal communities to look at opportunities to diversify their local and regional economies. Mr. Speaker, we not only have the backs of workers in the coal-affected communities, we are working collaboratively with the municipalities. The members opposite would turn their backs, turn out the lights on these communities, and do nothing to support them. I can tell you this much, Mr. Speaker, when is Jason Kenney going to apologize to the workers and communities?